I lost 70 pounds, and I want to be straight with you about how much willpower that took. Not that much, because at some point, fairly on to be fair, I stopped trying to rely on willpower and started actually doing something that works. I know how that sounds. Every fitness video says that, but bear with me. The problem with willpower is terrible at its job. You got a certain amount of it per day, it's fine. And every decision you make, every email, every meeting, every time you tell your kids stop doing the thing they've been doing for 45 minutes, it chips away at it. By 7 p.m. on a Tuesday, it's mostly gone. And that's the exact moment your diet asks you to cook a healthy meal from scratch, resist the biscuits, track your food accurately, and generally just be a responsible adult. That's the moment most diets die. Not from the lack of effort, but from terrible timing. Here's the thing. Most diets are built for the best version of you. The version that woke up motivated, that slept 8 hours, had a calm morning, and hasn't made a single difficult decision all day. That version doesn't exist on a Tuesday. So the question isn't how do I have more willpower? It's how do I build something that doesn't need it? Here's what I built. System 1. Morning training. I train before work every time, no exceptions. Not because I'm a morning person, which I actually am. It's because if I leave it until later, something will interrupt it. A meeting runs long, a client needs something urgent, I'm tired, life happens. And if you got kids, which I know a lot of you have, you already know that the evening isn't yours. Someone needs feeding, bathing, arguing with, reading to. By the time that's done and they're actually asleep, you've got about 45 minutes before you should be in bed yourself. The gym session at 7 p.m. that requires willpower gets skipped. The one at 6 a.m. that's already done before breakfast does not. Morning training is finished before the day has had a chance to get in the way. It's never a decision, it's never a negotiation, it's just what goes first. System 2. Shop online, same list every week. Every weekend, same grocery order online, not in the supermarket. Because when I go to the supermarket, the biscuits exist. They're right there in an aisle with a deal on. Yes, I'm human and I'm a massive foodie. So you know what will happen. Online, the biscuits don't exist because I don't go near them. I order the list has what I need. The list doesn't have 8 things I will regret at 10 p.m. My cupboards don't have junk food in them, not because I'm disciplined, but because I never bought it. You cannot eat what isn't there. That's it. That's the whole system. If you got kids, this matters even more. Your house is already full of snacks and chocolate biscuits that were definitely for their lunchboxes. You don't need to add your own landmines to the cupboard. Same list every week online. 2 minutes and done. System 3, emergency meals. These are the meals I have when life throws shit at me, which is actually more frequent than I would like. When I don't want to cook, when I'm tired, when it's 7 p.m, I've just come back from a work trip and I've got nothing left. My personal go-to meals are 0% Greek yogurt with frozen berries, protein porridge, a smoothie, or even a ready meal. Each one takes about 3 minutes, each one is high in protein. Each one means that on the worst days, the days where previously I would have had pizza or just eaten whatever's in the cupboard, I've still hit my numbers and not gone backwards. I always have these ingredients in the fridge, always. It's a non-negotiable. Because here's what happens if you don't have an emergency meal ready. The emergency meal becomes whatever's easiest. And whatever's easiest at 6 p.m. when you're shattered is almost never the yogurt. It's most likely going to be the pizza. Pick 2 or 3 options and then make sure the ingredients are always around. Use them without guilt. System 4, pre-log the night before. The night before, I enter the next day's food into my tracker. Not during the day when I'm already stressed, already making decisions, already running on whatever's left after a full morning of work. The night before, when it's calm, takes about 2 minutes and then it's done. The next day, I'm not tracking. I'm just following a plan I already made when I was in a reasonable headspace. That is a very different thing. Most people will track as they go, which means you're making food decisions in real time, under pressure, when the pie in the meal deal looks extremely reasonable. And you've only had a coffee since 7:30. You make much better decisions at 9 p.m. on a full stomach than at 1 p.m. when you're starving and staring at a Tesco meal deal. 2 minutes, night before, that is the system. System 5, design your social eating before you're in it. If I'm meeting a mate, I'll suggest a coffee and a walk instead of lunch. Not because I can't do lunch, but because a coffee and a walk is genuinely easier and I prefer it. If it's a meal, I'll steer towards somewhere that has options that are slightly lower in calories. If I can make it just drinks instead of dinner, I will. None of this requires saying no to anything dramatically. It just requires suggesting things slightly differently. I'm not the guy explaining his diet at the table. I'm just the guy who recommended the Italian place over the burger joint. Not that I don't have a burger every now and then because I freaking love them. 30 seconds of thinking before any social event means you're not making the decision when you're already hungry, surrounded by menus, and everyone's ordering a starter and asking if you want to share the bread. So a quick mention for having the same meals on rotation. I talked about this more in another video, so I won't go into it again, but briefly, I eat the same meals on rotation. Not because I'm boring, but because the decisions are already made. I know what I'm having, I know the calories, and I know the portion. Nothing to think about. Decision fatigue is real. The more food decisions you have to make in a day, the worse those decisions get. So it's easier just to remove them where you can. None of these are dramatic. None of them require being a different person or having a different life. Train before the day starts. Shop online with the same list. Keep emergency meals in the fridge. Pre-log the night before. And steer social situations before you're already in them. That's it. It wasn't willpower that lost me 70 pounds. It was the setup and the systems that did. And the setup is boring. Deliberately boring. because boring is repeatable and repeatable is what actually works. If you want all 5 of these written down in one place, I put together a free fat loss guide specifically for millennials. Everything you need to get started, no bullshit, links in the description. Go and grab it, it is free. And if this video was useful, please subscribe. I make videos like this every week for guys who are done with generic fitness advice and want something that actually fits around real life. Cheers then, all the best.